Hello everyone, I'm Food for Dogs, and here is the announced unboxing of the Fairy Tale Guild box, which I received not so long ago. And I will take off the cellophane and you can then admire the artwork on the box without the reflection getting in the way. So I'll start on that, and while I do that I want to clarify one particular point. I had a subscriber leave a comment that sort of indicated or implied that Koei Tecmo, the company, sent me this box as a kind of gift or perk. I'm not quite sure. I may have misunderstood that, but I think it's a good opportunity to make it absolutely crystal clear that I do not accept any form of payment, any kind of perks at all here on Food for Dogs. You may have noticed that I don't have any adverts running here on the channel. It should be pretty obvious really, which means I don't monetize the channel, as it's generally called. I'm not against people monetizing their channels. Commercial outfits, professional people need to do it, and that's how it works, and that's fine. It just doesn't suit my circumstances, and I just don't want it for myself and my channel. Food for Dogs is purely my hobby, me enjoying gaming and wanting to share it with other people. I purchased this box. Maybe if I hold it up to the camera now you can see it a bit better. There's still a bit of a light point I see, but hopefully you can see a bit of the artwork. It says Fairy Tale Guild box on the front, and on the back is a listing of all the items in the box. So there is a bit of a story behind how I got this box. It's actually quite a funny story. I bought it more or less by accident. Yes, I know, but you know, funny things happen to me, so we need to go back a little bit in history to understand how I purchase and import my special editions. Medium-sized companies like Bandai Namco and Koei Tecmo, and they're the ones who publish this particular game and the box. They used to bring games to New Zealand. Now New Zealand is a pretty small domestic market, but they supplied us with games and limited editions until fairly recently. But I would say it's sort of all stopped about a couple of years ago or so. The last limited edition I remember coming to New Zealand was the Tales of Vesperia one, which Bandai Namco brought here, and you know what, I missed the date for the pre-order with EB Games, and so I never got it. But that's the last one I remember. After that they pretty much all pulled out of the market. I suppose it's too expensive for them to produce an edition specifically for our region and then to distribute it here. If we want JRPGs, which generally do not come to New Zealand anymore, and yes, this may sound surprising to those of you, especially in the United States, where you can walk down to a GameStop or to Walmart or anywhere else, and you can usually find even more niche games. That just doesn't happen in New Zealand. So I'm forced to import most of my games, and that's clearly what companies like Koei Tecmo, Bandai Namco, NISA, etc. expect people like us to do. If we want something special, especially limited editions, launch editions, etc., we need to order it direct from the company. And in my case that means ordering direct from Koei Tecmo in Europe. Now, for some reason I have had a bit of a problem using their website in the past. I haven't been able to order anything there before. Whenever I tried, the country option in the drop-down list, New Zealand just wasn't available, so obviously I couldn't go through the checkout. So when I was recently just pottering around the Koei Tecmo website, I noticed the Fairy Tale Guild box, and I looked at it and I thought, that is a wee bit expensive for what it is really, because there's no real big ticket item in the box, as I would call it. You know, like a big hefty art book or something like that. And I thought, well, I probably wouldn't be able to order it anyway because the option won't be available for New Zealand. I popped it into my shopping cart, clicked on the country list, and to my surprise, New Zealand was there. It was a true impulse. I clicked the buy button and it went through. And I was jolly well surprised. That's how I got to purchase a copy of this Guild box. So we're now finally going to have a look inside, shall we? So I've got the box open. So we'll have a look inside. I also want to talk about the artwork. If you know me by now, that's not surprising. It's really quite interesting. I've already had a few people comment about it on the channel, and I have to admit that I at first didn't really take to the artwork that much. When I tried watching the anime years ago, I wasn't really too much drawn in. It was only recently when I heard that they were making a game that I became more interested, because it struck me that this type of story and the art style both would lend themselves superbly to making a game. The story is set all around guilds, typical RPG stuff, and the art style is distinctive, and I thought it might work really well. The style reminds me immediately of another manga and anime series, a very famous franchise called One Piece, and most of you will be familiar with that one. It features a similar art style that has very simple shapes and uses a thick outlining for detail. I feel that both One Piece and Fairy Tale have that very much in common, and while they're very different types of stories, I see a certain similarity there. So I had a look where both the creators of those two series originally got their inspiration from. I saw that the creator of Fairy Tale, who's called Hiro Mashima, listed Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball as his favorite manga when he was growing up. Now, the One Piece creator, called Eiichiro Oda, his biggest influence is listed as Akira Toriyama and his series Dragon Ball. So I think we can see that those two strong influences really shaped the style of both of those very popular manga and anime series, One Piece and Fairy Tale. I thought that was interesting, and once I read it I thought, well, that is really so obvious, you know. Now let's have a look what else is in the box. I won't even try and show those to you because a camera can't capture the 3D effect properly. It is a very strong 3D effect, I can tell you that. And the 3 cards feature Natsu, Erza, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, and Grey. Now, yes, I know there's no Lucy, but I see Lucy is here. So I'll just unwrap this. Inside is a really very nice cloth. I don't know how much of you can see it here. It is very nicely printed and it has a silky, sheeny finish. So very, very pretty. I'm happy with that. Now I've opened up the cellophane on the game and I'll just have a quick look inside. It doesn't have a reverse cover, but there's some art on the reverse which sort of shines through on the inside, and it's nicely done. And that is the front cover. So here we have the sticker set with the 5 main characters. So that's very nicely done. Natsu, Lucy, Grey, Ursa and Wendy. And finally the Sorcerer magazine. A weekly Sorcerer extra issue game release edition. That's left that in Japanese. It doesn't really matter because it's all about the illustrations. Hope you can see that. As you will have noticed, I'm on my own today, no poodle pa. So I would welcome feedback in particular about the audio, because normally Poodle Pa deals with the audio side of things. My hearing's not very good, so I wouldn't be able to tell whether it's okay or not. With me using a new camera setup, yeah, that would be great if you let me know if the audio is fine or not. So a lot of illustrations that will please the fans, I would say. I'm sure I'll be able to use a bit of Google Translate to get some of that text into English. The book is printed on good quality paper. It's nice and semi-gloss, and the print is very well done in how it stands out in terms of colour and finish. If you're a fan of Happy the Blue Cat, there is an image board at the end, plus some background scenes, very nice. And that's the Sorcerer magazine. In effect, you could say an art book. Nicely produced, well done. So I have got an art book after all. I hadn't realised that because it's only listed as a magazine, and I thought it would be not very much. But it is actually a proper art book with illustrations, so they maybe almost undersold this box because it really is rather nice. The cloth poster in particular is very pleasing, and I'm sure we'll find a place for it. And the 3D cards are nice. The sticker set is very nice. it's a proper limited edition, I would say. There's just no soundtrack. That's the only thing that's missing, which puzzles me a bit because soundtracks are not that expensive to produce. But obviously they balance it out in either the 3D cards or the sticker set. I don't know. They did it this way, and overall it exceeds my expectations. Now finally, about the game. I will obviously be popping this disc into my PS4 later today, and I will start playing it, and I will give you my very early impressions in due course very soon. The game had its embargo lifted today, so only a few hours ago. So the first reviews are beginning to come in, and I've had a very quick look before making this video. I was a bit concerned, but so far it's looking reasonably positive, and I'm very happy about that. I would expect that the really big outfits will not cover it because it's too much of a niche game. But certainly medium-sized and smaller ones, and especially those who are reviewing RPGs and JRPGs, I think will cover it. I saw an early review from a pretty large site called Push Square. They gave it a score, a good it was called, a good score of 70 out of 100, which sounds perfectly fair to me, and I would hope that other reviews will be similar. I'm not expecting with this a game of the year. What I'm expecting is an enjoyable game that is competently executed and respects the original IP of Fairy Tale. Gust is a company with a developer with a lot of experience, and I really would trust them to be able to pull something like this off, although they've never had a famous franchise IP before. It's their first time, but still, I have confidence in what they do. Gust are of course well known for the Atelier games, the long-running series. They have done a game called Blue Reflection, which is absolutely beautiful. They have done Knights of Azure 1 and 2, which are also rather nice games, and slightly older on the PS3 Arno Surge, which is, I believe, now getting a remaster, a very welcome remaster. There is a very solid background in RPGs there, and I simply cannot see them producing and offering a really poor game. That would really surprise me. I'm not expecting that. I told you what my expectations are, and we will see if they're met once I've had a chance to play the game. So there you have it. That was the unboxing of the Fairy Tale Guild box, with a lot of surprisingly nice goodies inside, and a game that I'm now very, very keen on trying out and experiencing. I hope you enjoyed that. I will update you on how I go with Fairy Tale the game. Thank you very much for watching. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye bye.